Hello and welcome to an episode of An Incomplete Reflection. I'm here with the wonderful and charismatic Crystal. Crystal, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, Faris.
I haven't seen you in, I think, at least 4 years in person.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
Because I think COVID.
COVID, but then before that,
I don't know either.
did we get lunch or something?
I think
No,
so. We
it's
might have
been
gone to the
ages.
diner, but
It's been ages.
I don't know. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
A little background. Crystal was my prom date in high school. Can you believe it? So we're still friends and we give each other postcards as often
That's
as we
what
can.
it is. I'm
Yeah.
like, I know we have contact.
Yeah.
You always send me these best postcards in French from like Morocco or anywhere.
I sent you one from Portugal, but it never arrived.
That's
Because I sent to other
heartbreaking.
people. I sent it to other people. They were like, I didn't get it. So
That's heartbreaking.
it's Newman from Seinfeld. But let's get into the name game. So, Crystal, what is your full name?
My full name is Crystal Sandra Flats.
No.
That's it. Pretty short.
Your shining star. Crystal.
Actually,
Yeah, no.
Okay, so I'm Crystal. I have a twin brother named Ray.
Oh, I'm going to get into that.
You will,
Don't
you
worry.
will.
Yeah.
His name Ray as in like ray of sunshine, and mine's Crystal as in like crystal ice. So it's like
Well,
opposites.
Well, I think it has to do with light, you know?
It does.
There you go. Yeah.
It's a good one.
That's good. And just for the record, what was the name of your first pet?
My first pet was
Yeah.
named Coco.
Oh.
She was a dog who, when I was 6, she was a those, not like a shepherd,
Like
like
a brown.
Cocker Spaniel. She
Oh,
was
okay.
black. She was a
Oh.
Cocker Spaniel. And she like died or something, like very abruptly.
You're like,
she was like very young.
It happens.
It
You're like, I
happens.
forgot about
That
it.
was my
Well,
first experience of death.
Thank you for that security question. We'll keep that. Don't ever use it again. Let's get into. Do you think that your name fits you? Like when people meet you, they're like, Crystal, yes.
Okay, so I don't know. I used to hate my name. I used to hate it.
Why?
Because the nicknames were like Chrissy or Christy, and I never liked those.
Mm.
And I used to not like Chris because there's always a bunch of like guys named Chris in your class. So I was like, I don't know. It just used to not be for me. But as I've gotten older and like leaned into like, I don't know, being more feminine or like lighthearted, I don't know. I feel like Crystal.
Lighthearted.
I don't know.
You have to be lighthearted to be named Crystal?
You do. You literally do. It's hard to explain.
Okay.
Any crystals you meet and they like their name,
Yeah.
they are enjoying life.
Everyone else is like, they're ready to end it.
If you're a crystal,
They're ready to go to Fresno and
yeah.
just live there.
they're ready to like change their name, new identity.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
100%.
Well, let's get into that. Would you ever change your name?
For sure.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know. Because I used to like not really like it, and okay, not changing my name, but I would do like a weird nickname.
Oh,
I almost
okay.
wanted to like something like Riz or Tull or like a weird part of Crystal that you could.
Or you could just change the
abbreviate.
pronunciation, like Crystal. Like,
Cristal.
yeah. No, that's French people.
Yeah, well,
They do a lot of
whatever
things.
you said was weird.
Yeah, well, that's right. No, what I said was completely normal. Everybody knows that. But French. Oh, I've never spoken that before.
I was gonna ask if you would ever change your name.
Well, now you
again,
can't ask
this
the
is an
question.
interview.
This is the. You can't ask me these questions.
You're right.
Zach tried to ask me what was my middle name on the first episode. I had to shut him down. I'm shutting you down here now. We'll take that as our cue to move on to the custom section. Stick with us. We are back with the charismatic Crystal. Why did you say? Well, you picked the word.
No.
You picked the adjective. I have adjectives lined up, which I can't reveal on the air, in case I want to do that as one of like a side episode. So, the charismatic Crystal, we have entered the custom section. Are you excited?
I'm super
Yeah.
excited.
Well, I can't say that you're a fan of the show because you're coming in completely
I've
blind.
never seen it.
It's different for someone who's in the first episode. You know, Zach was our first guest,
Yeah,
and he's at least
brave of him.
he is brave, and I think you're brave too. So let's get started. So as you mentioned, you have a brother named Ray,
I
and he's a
do.
twin,
He's my twin.
and you're a twin.
I'm a twin.
Because if you're both twins, you can't be a solo twin, you know, unless you ate the one in the womb or
Or
whatever it
killed
is.
them or something.
We'll get onto that later. Who do you think has the better name?
Wow. Okay, so his full name is Raymond, and
Yeah.
he goes by Ray.
Yeah.
And it's like a nickname that is like perfect, easy, works, not too common. He has the better name.
Oh, okay.
I'll go so far as to say that.
Well, did everyone talk to him about Everybody Loves Raymond? That was on as a child.
Yeah, and then everyone hates Chris. You know, like I got the short stick.
Oh my God.
From birth, I got the short stick.
That's perfect. Actually, that's so perfect.
So I like never gotten by Chris.
But here's the thing: you got the better show.
I
Because
got the
Everybody
better
Hates
show.
Chris is the only show that's set in the 80s, or one of the only shows that's set in the 80s that's like, oh, this is fun, the 80s were cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Every other time you're like, why did people live like
Why
this?
did people like enjoy this as
And-
media? No.
And everybody, like, what? Everybody loves Raymond or something, hates Raymond? We don't know. I don't like Raymond, so I think it should be called Everybody Dislikes Raymond, because it's not like a good, it's not funny to me.
No, I actually haven't seen it. Never watched
You're not
it.
missing out. There's better
Thank you.
sitcoms from the early 2000s.
Thank you.
This is another question about Ray and you, because I feel like you're inextricably linked. I think I said that wrong, but we're just gonna keep going.
You did.
How do you say? Like, what's the order of the names? Is it Crystal and Ray, or Ray and Crystal?
It's Ryan Crystal.
Why?
Okay, so he's older by 8 minutes.
Oh, so he's
which
brave.
is ridiculous. So
Okay.
he's brave. No,
Yeah.
he was killing me. He was killing me. We were in be like, my mom was sent into induced labor because
okay.
you know. Okay, so after like 6 months,
Mhm.
a baby grows like half a pound like every. No, in the last trimester, you grow like a lot very quickly.
Yeah.
Well, by the last month, I was shrinking. Like literally, not even growing. I was getting smaller.
What?
He was killing me.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
I know. So from the get go, we've had beef, and so they induced labor, got him out, whatever. So he only came out first because of scientific intervention to save my life.
Oh,
Whatever.
well, you gotta like scientists that are
Well,
doctors.
You do. So he's older. He's older by 8 minutes. There was a period of time where I was convinced it was 7 minutes. I don't know why. It was like a weird blip in my reality.
Well, what time were you born?
I was born at 10. Okay, this is why I thought it was 7 minutes.
Yeah.
I was born at 10:33.
What
He was born
morning-
at 10:25 p.m.
PM. Oh, so are you still a night owl?
I'm a night owl.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I went to bed at 4 in the morning last
Um,
night. Yeah,
I'm-
not my best move.
No, you didn't. You did not go to bed at 4 in the
I
morning.
did actually.
How do you go to bed at 4 in the morning and like
you wake up at 1 p.m. That's what you do.
No,
It's horrible. It's so bad.
I feel like if I get up after like 11 o'clock, I'm like, it's over.
If
The
I get
day's
up-
over.
If I get before 11, I'm like, I have the whole universe ahead of me. Like, I have weeks ahead of me. If I get up at 11, that's good.
No,
No, it's bad.
at least for me, I'm gonna be sweaty if I wake up after 11. I'm not even joking because I've been in the bed for 2 hours. The sunlight is beaming on me.
No,
It's
you're
too
right.
much.
It's not a comfortable wake up. It's like you're like out of it and boiling.
You're like,
not
what year
great.
is it? Where am I?
My dad's shaking me awake. Like, are you gonna eat? Like, what's going on? Oh, man.
We're still on one
Sorry, moving
topic.
it on.
I'm not even shifting to another topic. Do you often compare yourself to Ray?
So this is a good thing. No, because he's a guy, and like as boy and girl twins, I'm really thankful that like we're not the same gender. Because then I think it would have been more competition and like my friends versus his friends. Like we're both in the same friend group because we're totally separate. We're so opposite.
Like, what's your brand versus his brand? What would you say?
Okay, actually, he's really come into himself with like fat like clothes and.
Wait, what was the first word you were gonna say?
Fashion.
Oh, okay.
Don't know what you thought. He just adopted 2 cats. I'd say he's like stoner chill, and
okay.
I'm more like frolicking in the field, but also somehow like high on cocaine. Like,
Oh, that's very good.
I know, thank you. So
Right.
we're kind of similar, but
It's like you're in the same area, but
Same
like definitely
area.
different. Like same genre,
Yeah.
different subgenre.
yeah, like we definitely are both like. He's like relaxed, and I'm like type A.
Oh,
More type A than him.
well, that's why we get along. I can't stand people who are
I
type B. I
can't.
can't do. It's like,
Like,
what do you
go
mean?
faster.
Yeah, it's like, what do you mean? Like, I'm happy to chat for hours and do nothing, but we have to be talking. We have to be
Exactly.
doing something.
Ray's
can't-
like, why are you talking so much? And I'm like, you are so boring, I'm gonna kill myself.
You
Like,
need to say more things, please. You do interesting things, Ray, don't you?
Literally.
Ray, you do interesting things, don't you?
he does.
You
I
can tell us.
swear.
I promise you, we won't think it's boring. And you have an older brother, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Nobody ever talks about him.
My older brother is so dysfunctional.
Oh, really? Should we not talk about him?
No, it's awesome.
Yeah.
He's functional and like he has a great job. Like
Oh,
he
okay.
has a wife and a house.
Oh,
Like by
that's-
all and a cat, like a pet. Like by all like technical standards, he's
Oh, okay.
fine.
Yeah.
But like we met up. Ray moved to North Carolina.
What?
He's doing a PhD in North Carolina now.
Where? What city?
UNC Chapel Hill.
Oh,
So he's in Raleigh. He's in Raleigh.
Oh, okay.
We all went down. Me and my mom drove down. My older brother flew down. He somehow managed, I don't know how, 3 hours early, and he missed his flight.
What?
Because he, fell asleep and set an alarm for 5 minutes before the plane takes off.
That's not how you're supposed to do it.
I know.
You're supposed to do it 5 minutes before it starts boarding.
He's 27. I don't know.
He's married?
Yeah.
Oh, he's brave.
And he doesn't know how to, book, how to get on a flight. And so, he missed his flight. Ray had to book him a new one. He then
Ray had to
Yes, Ray. He calls us up. Ray books him a new flight to go to Canada. We went to Canada last week to visit other family, and he asked my mom to book him the flight. So then my mom asked me, obviously.
Yeah. It's like, I don't want to do that. Nobody wants to book someone else a flight. Yeah.
So I booked him a flight,
yeah.
And it was 4 days before he needed the flight. It's it's ridiculous. It was so expensive.
What?
He also
and he doesn't care?
He did. He was mad. But I was also Brian, you literally had no other option. Why didn't you do this a month and a half ago? We've known about this forever. So he just doesn't get around it. He his car registration expired, so he borrowed my car for a month. How does he function?
Where does he live? Where is he?
I know. Where does he live?
Does he live in New Jersey still?
Yeah, he's 15 minutes away.
Oh, okay. So,
yeah.
Brian, you got to get on it.
We have to get it together.
Yeah, that was funny. I don't remember your brother at all, but my sister, who's a year older than I am, knows who he is.
She does?
Yeah, she does. No, because he's 3 years older than you, right?
4.
4. Okay. Oh, so I
3 to you, 2 to her.
Oh, yeah.
He's only 2 years older than her.
So he was a senior when I was a freshman. Yeah, so I should have known him. At least as a first grader to a fourth grader.
Yeah. And a weird. He was kind of well known. He had friends and stuff in the group. And
oh, he had a. So you're just describing that he's a functioning member of society. He's not a lone wolf. He's not
no, he was
can't
good.
let Faris know about me.
Exactly. It's more I don't know, he was always just, things were just going wrong somehow. He would always come late to gym class eating something. And his gym teacher was if you keep doing this, I'm gonna fail you and you'll have to repeat the year. What? And he was what is wrong with this woman? And my mom is what is wrong with you? Stop coming late with fries in your hand. What is wrong with you?
Here's what he didn't do. He didn't offer.
He didn't offer.
Yeah,
you're right.
These are the things. You got to work on your social skills, Brian.
You know, that's fair.
So, just to wrap up this section, is he often left out of the conversation?
Okay, only a little in that, because he has a wife and moved out. Me and Ray lived at home way longer, with our parents. We've gone on vacation without Brian. It's been me and Ray and mom and dad, we went to London and England for a week, and Brian was where was I? I'm honestly, I don't know.
I'm not booking these flights.
I'm not booking these flights for you. It's your own fault.
Yeah.
So he's a bit, but then he's always brought up as this ace up the sleeve, best person. Oh, Brian, love that guy. Great guy. But he's always just an afterthought, but a really special after. It's hard to describe. But yeah. And his wife, Molly, who I love actually.
Oh, well, we all love Molly.
We all love Molly.
It says here in my notes that your father is from South Carolina. What's it like to have a father from a different country?
You said South Carolina.
Yeah, it's here in my notes. You can see.
Instead of South Africa.
Oh, that my bad. It's almost as if I knew that and I put it in the notes so I can have a joke.
You're so annoying. Okay, yeah, so South Carolina, as you know, it's kind of down south, kind of far.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're both in the south. You can see why I got it confused. Yeah.
Exactly, just wrong hemisphere. He's funny. He's good. South African Jewish, and so...
What is that supposed to mean?
More part of... Jewish culture than South African culture, you know?
Well, because I remember you said that your family's originally from the Russian Empire in some way, and they escaped.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, but why South Africa? Did you ever find that out?
I only found out actually they're mostly from Lithuania and a little bit of Ukraine. Apparently, my dad always told me Poland, but recently it was Ukraine. He doesn't really know much about his history.
He doesn't ask these questions.
He really could not care. He somehow has no interest.
Oh, okay.
But okay, so it was mostly Lithuania, and they left. I know, because the pogroms going on.
Yeah.
And apparently 70% of Jews in South Africa are from Lithuania. There's this really big not pipeline, but immigration path from Lithuania to South Africa. during that like late 1800s, early 1900s.
Yeah.
And so that's how we ended up there. And she was like in this Jewish community and like this, a bunch of other refugees, immigrants.
No, because it's like a double jump, Yeah.
It
Like
really
it
is.
must be like weird when people ask you, they're like, "Oh, what's your heritage?" Right?
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know. How do I start?
I'll just say Jewish. Because like South Africa, right? But then it's also like, we're not South African, you know? And so that's
like,
kind
it's
of
not even
misleading.
like you're one of the English or the Afrikaners where it's like more stable or like stronger roots in the time. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, well, South Africa, but technically Lithuania. But technically also, it wasn't Lithuania at the time. So yeah. So I don't know. He has a funny accent. He says things weird. He he'll say, "Oh, like my back's really sore." And by sore, like, oh, it's kind of sore. He means like in a lot of pain. He means like this is really hurting.
Like different, like same meaning but different intensity in where it is. Yeah.
Exactly. He does that for a lot of things. He says, "Oh, I have to go play on the computer." When he means like I have to go like do a lot of important work.
No, it does not say play. It is not say.
He called his accountant today. I overheard him 2 hours ago with his accountant. She's like done on the computer. He's like, "Okay, like can I go play on the computer now?" That's not what you mean. Like, say what you mean. He never says what he means.
I think that's more fun, I think that no, but when you think of yourself, is your heritage important to you?
Okay, the Jewish part is important to me.
Yes,
and like not even the Lithuanian part or the Ukrainian part, like the part that was from the USSR. Like, if I want to learn a language, I'm like interested in learning Yiddish or something because my grandparents spoke Yiddish, but that's what's more important to me than anything related to the USSR time. But also South Africa is like a huge part of my dad, and like he collects African art, and our house is full of like African art, and we've been, and he spoke Afrikaans growing up, and so I don't know, it's
tough to say.
It's tough.
But what about your mom's side? I don't think I've ever asked.
So that's an interesting one because I'm actually a donor egg. And so I'm not genetically related to my mom.
Oh, okay.
And so my donor egg woman, her name's Sandra. She's lovely. She's
so that's why your
we know
middle
her.
name is
That's
Sandra.
that's why my middle name is Sandra. Thank you. No one like picks up on that. They're like, "Oh, what a weird coincidence." And I'm like, "What?"
They're not listening.
They're not listening.
I'm listening. That's what this podcast is about. I talk a lot, but now I'm listening. That's the difference. So Sandra, this wonderful woman, Sandra.
I'm actually living with her next month. And that's like a weird thing to throw in.
What?
like starting this Sunday, like in fabulous. 2 days.
Yeah.
I have a course in New York City. She lives in New York City with her wife. She's bisexual and her wife's a lesbian, and they also use donor sperm to like have 2 kids. And I know their kids; they're like in college, and I.
So like you're like
we know them.
Biological siblings, like half siblings, but like not in the same way. I've never known this before.
It's really very fascinating. It's also. I'm also technically not related to her kids because they used Nikki's egg and a different sperm, so totally unrelated. Yeah, which is weird. But we don't consider them cousins, family.
You don't want to mix fun and whatnot, I didn't know what
work
the word.
And play.
Yeah, work and play.
Like,
yeah,
with her family.
I like fun and whatnot. I think it's better.
But it was, vaguer. Like my dad, he'd prefer fun and whatnot.
You tell him that. We'll see what he says.
And so Sandra, knew my family before she met Nikki and everyone. She was just she knew my parents, and so offered donor eggs. She also is herself adopted, and so it was unclear on her own heritage. She recently did genetic testing. I think she's like part North European,
like Nordic,
yeah, Scandinavian.
Yeah.
I think a little bit of French. I think a little bit of English. Yeah, I'll have to look into it. Swedish? I don't know. I don't feel Swedish. Yeah. But
so they're like, I'm gonna reject that. If I get that in a DNA test, get it away from me.
Thank you. And so it's pretty like my mom's side is what's really far, like not genetically related or really care about. But she's from like North Carolina, and so we visit like Virginia. Her family really spread out in Virginia, and so I feel connected to like the U.S. Appalachia because that's like really important to my mom.
So she's more like the American.
She's
American.
Yeah. Like born, raised, generations in Virginia, and I like it. I don't know. She has a lot of conflicting feelings because it is like the South, and her family was here in the Civil War, and it's like she has a lot of conflicting like emotions about that.
Yeah.
But it's nice to feel like I like Appalachia and stuff, and she likes Appalachia, and we like to visit North Carolina. And it's nice to see where she grew up.
Yeah, no, it's always because I think it's funny. for me, I have like an American parent, and then I have a
Mhm.
non-American parent, and then I know Casey, she is an American
Yeah, yeah,
parent and a
yeah.
non-American parent. So I think a lot of people I think in our area, I have like a couple of
There's a lot,
examples
actually.
where it's like you get a one and one, and it's
Yeah.
perfect. It's the perfect because it's not just different like races or different parts of the country. It's like completely out of left field where it's like, what do you mean you don't do this around Christmas time? It's like what? It's like we're not putting a pickle in the tree. Like it's
Like, no one does that. Like,
no
get
one
the
does
pickle
that.
out of the tree. Yo, my dad didn't celebrate Christmas until he met my mom.
Oh,
And
okay.
and Easter not at all. And he was just my dad loves Christmas lights.
Oh, okay.
Obsessed with them. We actually
Yeah.
our house is known as like crazy Christmas lights.
Yeah.
Because he thinks it's just like the funnest, silliest thing. He's like,
Yeah.
look at all these people doing lights for this guy. Like, this is so silly.
This guy.
Like he just loves the idea. He loves it.
No, because it's not only, I think in that situation, it's not only that he's from a different country, it's that he's a different religion too.
Totally
So it's
different.
like,
He's like, what is everyone doing? This is so funny.
you're like, this is an American custom? No. Or it is, but it's like, no, but it's
Yeah.
based in the religion. It's like, what?
What?
Yeah.
But what does that mean?
Yeah.
Wait, and so I was gonna ask about.
Yeah, what do you want to
I was gonna say, which of your parents is from where?
Oh, my dad's from Morocco. My
Yeah.
mom's from North Jersey.
She has a Jersey accent, man.
You know
She's
that,
such a
yeah.
strong
Yeah.
accent.
Well, I say Florida on purpose because I hate the state so much, and that's how she says it. And when you listen on like Seinfeld as well, like they'll say like Florida oranges, and that's how you find out if someone is from North Jersey and New York. You
Yeah.
listen for that O that's really an A.
Yeah.
But let's move to a better state. Let's go to New York, upstate New York to be exact. That's where you went to school.
That's where I went to college.
Like every liberal arts major.
Yeah, I'll say New York. Yikes.
I believe you switched majors. What was that to?
Okay, so who even knows? I like mostly I came in as like an undeclared liberal arts major.
No.
I know.
Oh,
I
okay.
was so ugly. It was like I don't know what
Yeah.
the fuck to do.
Mhm.
But then I settled on political science.
Mm.
But I really wavered between like sociology and anthropology.
Okay.
And I like switched minors like 4 times, whatever. I was like,
It's
I
not
couldn't.
important.
It's not important. I couldn't commit. I was gonna do like different, like 3 different minors and different things. I ended up settling on political science and French as double majors, and then a
Okay.
minor in education.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like more like American studies with like a focus on education. I don't know. You know, liberal arts.
Yeah,
always does
they
stupid
double dip on a
freaking-
lot of things.
Exactly. But so yeah, like I don't know. That's what I did.
No, because I remember when I first went to, like, when I applied and went to college, you're like, I'm going to be a psych major.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Senior year of high school, I was like, I'm gonna study, like, I'm gonna be a surgeon. I'm gonna study chemistry. I was
What?
like, I'm going to do medicine. I wanted to do medicine like all throughout high school. Like
What?
I took like human anatomy, I took physiology, I
Yeah.
took chem and bio and all this stuff. And I like organic biochemistry. Like I was gonna do surgery.
Oh
like
my
damn.
God. Yuck.
And then I took global studies my senior year. Shout out to Daniel Kavanaugh. Shout out to him. Love that man.
Yeah.
And his class global studies, I was like, wow, like these like what we learned about like children in the Congo and mines. And I was
Oh,
like, this
okay.
is so messed up. We should be doing something.
Yeah.
I'll do it on the side.
That's your voice for yourself.
That's me in the past. That's me as like a child. As like a
Okay.
near adult. And I don't know, I just figured like you couldn't do both. You can't do medicine and other
Yeah.
things that you really value.
Mm.
At least I was talking to my uncle who's a surgeon, and that's what he was telling me. He was like,
Who's your inspiration?
yeah, for not doing it. Actually, he was my advice. He's like, if you want to do anything
Yeah.
like social justice on the side, you can't do that.
Yeah.
If you're doing surgery,
You
medicine,
could do some back alley stuff.
back alley maybe, like organ donation, whatever. But
Yeah, but I don't think people will think it's donation. You know.
harvesting, I think they call it.
yeah, harvesting. Yeah, no, but go on with your point. Sorry, I like to interrupt.
You're good. And so I just really switched paths. And so I came in like fresh. That was really like senior year of high school when you were applying to everything. I was like, Jesus, now I have no idea what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so then I was maybe going to do human rights or law, but I settled on political science, and
Yeah.
it was right for me. It
Oh,
was
my
fun.
sister's a political science major.
Was she?
Yeah.
That's so. Is she currently? No, she was.
She was. Well, she graduated. She's an adult now. She like does things and like
Because at college, you're not an adult.
yeah, she pays in car insurance. She
Ooh.
drives her. She gets groceries. You know, adult things.
Yeah.
What was the most eye-opening thing you've learned from like changing in that way? Like, what do you think? Like, or like we've kind of talked about that, but like it's
Yeah.
like, what do you think that opened your eyes to from focus on like political science and like just international issues in general?
Yeah. I think what I learned that's really useful is that this was the most about like I really was very stressed about the minor I wanted to have in different minors, and I was like, I
Mm.
want to have maybe a minor in Spanish or Arabic. Like there are things I want to learn, and to have any like capability or like I don't know, like quantifiable ability, you have to be able to put it on paper as like a thing that's known, like a minor.
Yeah.
And I learned like you can just say like conversational in this language. Like you don't have to have anything as a minor. You can just
Yeah.
have those experiences and frame them in a way on a resume or like in an interview of like still finding it to be useful and valid without having it be like properly done.
Where it's not like you took 5 courses and then
Exactly.
you got it.
And like that was really stressing me out. I was trying to take all these courses and I didn't have time and all this stuff. And my mom's like, you can just say like, oh, you know this. You know about these things. You don't have to have that like, I don't know.
You don't have to check a box. You just got
and
it.
that helped chill me out.
No, because I can't believe you went through 4. That's insane.
I was really stressed. I almost switched majors my junior year, like before my thesis. I was like, maybe I'll do a double, like I'll combine major with sociology, and I was like, I need to stop. I was like, I need to just not.
You just
that.
gotta. You're like, my path is already set.
It's
I don't need
late.
I don't need to be in school any longer.
No, not at all. Yeah.
You've done some international traveling.
I have. I'm traveling. I love traveling.
So. I love that voice. I like how you're like not responding the way that normal people are supposed to respond to my questions, where it's like you're not supposed to have fun. I'm supposed to be the one having fun here.
I normally I don't talk about myself very well. It makes me nervous. So I'm like...
So let's get into it. So you most recently were in Europe. Where did you go? What's the country list?
Okay, the country list was awesome. Okay, so I felt really guilty about taking this job. I moved to Europe, to France, in Toulouse, like southern France, as an English teaching assistant.
Okay.
And it was like an 8-month contract, and I was talking to my mom, and I was like, this feels irresponsible. I need to have like a job. It's only a part-time gig in France. Like, what am I doing? Like, I'm just bumming around. And she's like, go bum around. She's like,
this is the time to do it.
This is the time to bum around.
Yeah.
And it also, I was like, it's not related to anything. She's like,
yeah.
I talked to my advisor, my political science advisor, who was like, Crystal, it's like you studied education and you studied French. Like this is extremely related to what you wanted, like to what you did.
It's not
like,
unrelated.
It's not totally out of left field. She was like, Crystal, when I graduated, I moved to London for 6 months as a waitress. Like that's unrelated. What? Seriously, my political science advisor.
How does it work?
Shout out to Zoe Oxley. Like God bless her. She really was like, oh, I just moved with a friend and we got a work visa for 6 months.
What?
Man, the 90s, man.
That's it.
2 have been alive.
Oh yeah.
And so I was like, okay, you're right. Like I can like mess around for like the next year and it's okay. And so I moved to Toulouse, which is like one of my favorite cities ever. I would live there for decades. I love Toulouse. It's amazing. And French school systems have 2 weeks vacation every 6 weeks. Yeah, folks, you heard that right. You heard that right.
French people like vacation.
They know how to have work-life balance. Okay, have you ever heard the French are lazy? Yeah, because they know how to enjoy.
They've done their work. They got it done.
They got it done, and then they take a break. And so
where else?
In my country list.
Oh yeah. Because I'm gonna ask you more about France later, so I need you to go through the whole list.
Okay, country list. I went to Prague in Czech Republic. I went to Budapest in Hungary. I went to Croatia. Zadar in Croatia. I went to Italy for 2 weeks with a friend. Right. I went to Copenhagen for New Year's with Casey's family.
Oh, wow. That must be fun.
I did a day trip to London for the Harry Potter Studios tour. Literally a day trip.
Well, now you're in trouble with Harry Potter people.
It was amazing. Yeah. No trouble. It was fantastic.
Okay.
I went to Spain. I went to Portugal. I went to Andorra.
Andorra.
I love Andorra. I went there for a whole weekend. Yeah. Amazing. I went to Austria and Germany. And
did you ever make it back to Lithuania?
I didn't go to Lithuania. I didn't.
That's on the list.
I know. I really didn't go to Eastern. I didn't go to Romania or Bulgaria, any of those places. Yeah, the farthest I got was Hungary. Yeah, I think that's it. I think the whole total count, I did this with a friend like a few weeks ago. I think it's like 14 or something.
Oh
it was awesome.
Over 8 months.
Over 8 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's the dream though. That's really it's like amazing. You're like, can I try? Like when I went on vacation to Portugal a while ago, and I literally I literally forgot that I had a job.
Seriously, you come back?
No, because that's what I want from that's what you want from vacation, but it hurts so much after you come back. You're like, ugh, I gotta come back to this stuff.
Yo, my friend Sean, who's the one who went with me 2 weeks to Italy. We went to Greece. I forgot we went to Greece and Turkey. We went to Istanbul.
Yeah.
He came back. He lives in like Burlington, like middle of nowhere Burlington.
Yeah.
And he was like, Crystal, like, there's no there's no pastry shop. Like, how can I get my 3 p.m. pastry and coffee? Like, there's nowhere to go.
You have to drive there,
You have to drive there. He's like, I hate this. I was like, yeah. It's brutal. The U.S. is brutal.
It's designed completely differently after World War II.
Yeah.
Because after the Europeans were bombed, they got a lot of space to rebuild. They got to redevelop. We were like, let's do cars. And everyone now is like, let's not. Let's keep going. You've been using your French, I'm sure.
I have been.
Yeah.
Well, definitely when I was in France.
Yeah.
It actually got so much better. And Toulouse has a southern accent, which I moved there and I was like, I guess I don't speak French. Like, Jesus, like, what are they saying?
You're not understanding what they're saying.
Like there's like a twang to the vowels that in French is like very particular.
Yeah.
And so I was confused for like 2 weeks. And then I got used to it. I even so it almost just helped my ability to understand different accents. It got way better. I practiced like with the kids, with my coworkers, with friends I met. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like wow.
They get free English tutoring in that way. You know,
exactly.
like it's like they're not gonna say no. Like nobody's gonna.
Was so cool. I was placed in a middle school and like I was like the superstar of that middle school. They're like, oh my god, an American.
No
and
way.
She wears so many earrings.
That's what they're like. Stop the presses. New story. American women wear earrings. More than one. I can't believe it. Yeah.
No, they were super fun. I liked them.
Let's go to it. Did you choose French originally to seem quirky and not relatable?
The reason I chose French is so stupid.
Why?
I didn't like being told what to do, and so I hated that we had to learn Spanish. And I was like, well, I'm going to switch because I don't like that I've been told. Like, this was middle school. Like, you're, you know.
Yeah.
And what I thought German was ugly. Sorry, Casey. I thought Chinese was hard, and I was like not up for it. I thought Italian was not useful. Sorry, Katie. And I thought Latin. I was between Latin and French because I was still like, oh, I'm going to go into medicine or something.
I'll know these words.
Yeah, useful. And my mom was like, don't do that. I was like, okay, fine. So I did French, and I was like, I hear it's like romantic or something.
That's what people say.
Was, like, no reason. There was no, like, I'm so interested in this language and I'm so passionate about the country.
So my word quirky was correct. Like, it was quirky and not relatable. I have it here. Was it to be quirky rather than relatable? The answer is yes. Thank
100%. But I really, like, fell in love with it. I fell in love with it. I thought I really enjoyed learning another language and I really liked it. It's, like, fun to learn grammar of a different language.
It's a different way of thinking. That's the biggest thing because it's easier when like as a I used to speak better French and I speak a little Portuguese, and I tell people it's easier to switch like your thinking and being like a different character than it is to like translate in your head because it's it's like oui bien sûr, and like it's so much easier to do that than it is to be like wait what's of course, like
exactly, and you don't say the same things. Like if you're like, oh, like the food's here, you could say like, oh, like j'arrive, like I'm here. Yeah. But if you say, you wouldn't say like the food's here. In English, you say that. You wouldn't say that in French. You'd be like, I have arrived with the food.
Yeah.
Like you don't. Like,
so because you're the one bringing it.
Yeah.
You know, like
I know.
Yeah.
You just do little things.
Let's go more into the education that you're talking about. You went to Ghana.
Yeah.
Why?
I liked it. I went to Ghana.
Yeah.
This is cool. This is like a cool thing. Whatever.
All right. So you're cool. You're charismatic. All right.
I'll admit that. I'll admit. I got a grant. I applied for a grant in college. Okay, I got it back up. There was a woman at my university from Ghana who started this school in Ghana. She got this grant to like start a school. And then I joined her organization and wanted to like create this entrepreneurship course. She was looking for someone. This school is for like very low income women with not much formal education. Okay. It's a sewing school to teach them a vocational skill.
Okay. Yeah.
And she was like, I want someone to create a course about teaching how to be your own business owner. Because if you're going to learn how to sew, be a seamstress, and you really like have never had money, like how do you know how to budget and buy things and how do you do that? And so I was like, oh, I'd like to like develop that course. That seems fun.
Yeah.
And then she said, you should apply for the grant that I applied for, the Davis grant. And it's $10,000. And it funded the thing, like the experience. So
like for the flight, for the program
flight, for the program.
materials.
Yeah.
Oh,
And we
that's
also
interesting.
like made a kiosk, like a little small shop for them to sell from, and we like built that there. So a lot of the money went towards like building that, and then money and accounts for them when they graduated for their own supplies. Once they were done with the schooling. Yeah, so I was spent 2 months in Ghana, like the summer of 2021. It was amazing. It was like really, it was like culture shock that I have never known.
That was a question that I had.
Yeah,
on here.
it was culture shock that I have never known. Oh my gosh. Like
what's the biggest example of culture shock? Like, what would you say? Like, you didn't even realize people did that.
Okay, this is like the easiest way. She was like, she who I stay with was the woman who started this. Her name's Ella, and I stay with her older sister, Adwa. And Adwa, when I first got there, like first night, she was like, "Oh, like, do you know how to eat with your hands?" And I didn't even understand the question. I was like, "Yeah, like we have finger food. Like I know how to eat with my hands. Like I don't really understand what you mean." And she's like, "Okay, great." And then she hands me like chicken and rice and like a soup, and I'm like, I don't know how to eat this with my hands. Like I apparently know. Apparently no, I don't. And it's like a fuck. You don't just no. It's like you do not use your left hand at all. And
I know why.
Exactly.
Yeah, we won't talk about it. Yeah.
You don't even do it the way like I know in Indian cultures you will eat with your whole hand. In Ghana, you really only use like these 2 fingers to do it. You only use these 3 fingers.
Yeah. And
you mostly use your knuckles to get different dipping food, they call it, like banku or fufu, or it's like not a bread. Don't call it a dough. They get offended. You're like, oh, then you get into the dough. It's not dough, apparently. It's fufu. It's different.
Oh, my apologies.
I was like, sorry. And it's like this from vegetables, like made into a dough-like consistency.
Oh, okay. Dough-like. They're like, oh, yes.
Yeah, of course. And so that was just like the biggest one. Also, this is awesome. It's so spicy. It's so spicy that my hand, I thought I was having an allergic reaction. My hand was on fire. On fire.
Like the hand, not even your tongue.
No, like you're my hand, I was like, my hand, I'm having an allergic reaction to like this fufu soup. And she was like, oh, that's just the pepe. And I was like, what? She's like, pepe, like pepper. She's like, oh, that's just the pepper. Yeah. It's like, you'll get used to it. There was no like, oh, we'll use less spice next time. No, it's like, here's a spoon. None of that. They were like, oh, yeah, you'll adjust. Yeah. And I was like, wow, y'all really like, I've been thrown into this. And that's not even including the fact that they don't speak English. Like, this was also a different language. Like, they do speak English, but they speak Twi, they speak Fanti, where I was. Apparently, they spoke a local dialect called Ahanta, which doesn't exist on the internet. And I was like, no one told me this? Like, what the?
They're like, you gotta make the Wikipedia article.
I just showed up. Yeah, so there's a lot. I just showed up. They're like, oh, what are you doing here? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, we prepared this for a program.
Year. You should know about this. All right.
There was a lot.
We do have to keep going. We're running out of time.
I'm sorry, Faris.
We're having too good of a time because we haven't seen each other. I know. Well, I'm getting you to talk. Let's move to the States in a different state of mind. I'm going to give you a quote from perhaps the most important First Lady of the United States of America, Eleanor Roosevelt. Okay. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Do you believe that's true?
I'll say yeah. Well, I'll say no. I think the future belongs to everyone, and that everyone who's alive and gets into the future exists in the future. Like, you know, I don't know. Like literally everyone is in the future. Like, you know, like, that's not clear.
But what's your dream for the future?
But my dream for the future, like, I don't know. I just really want to, like, be happy and carefree and, like, travel. Like,
So you want to be rich. You want to be rich without being rich.
I want to be rich, man.
Yeah.
I just want to, like, travel with friends and drink good drinks and be near the ocean or the mountains and travel and stuff. But no, I definitely want to have, like, I'm really excited to have an apartment. That's, like, my dream for the future. I used to have my own apartment and, like, I decorate it with a lot of plants and I learn how to keep the plants alive and I cook a lot and I want to, like, I don't know, like, blend things by hand and I don't know. I'm trying not to, like, stress too much about career aspirations because that really does stress me out. Like, I'm back in the US, like, after this France thing, like, unemployed. Like, I need to find a job. But I also have this course starting in a month to, like, teach ESL for adults, a certification. Yeah. And then after that, like, I'm going to find a job. But it's just, like, stressful to think about. So I'm just trying to think about, like, I don't know. I want to learn different types of trees. My dreams for the future are to know how to take care of plants.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'll say.
we have one more thing. We have to go to Let's Reminisce. I can't remember my first memory of you because we went to elementary school together, and it's very tough. The only thing I can really say is that I remember. I think you had you talk with a little pizzazz. Is that right?
Oh yeah, thank you, Faris. When I had horrible speech impediments when I was a child.
That's the only thing I can remember. Like a specific thing, I can't remember any specific thing. Wait. Okay, wait. Let me get to the question.
I couldn't say R and L and S. Oh, thank you. Go on.
So
make fun of the disabled.
Okay. After the first time I ran an 800, I was under the bleacher, and after the intensity of the running, I threw up my lunch. And do you remember when you see me? I'm like struggling, and you're like, "Hey, Faris, what do you think is an embarrassing thing that you've had to just roll with? You just have to roll with it." Because I'm like, "Hey, Grizzle," and then I'm just like "What do you think?"
Okay. Sorry, nothing as good as that. That's really good. That's pretty humiliating. I think, I don't know, little things all the time. Like, small little things. Like, yesterday I went to the movies with Casey. So fun.
Mm-hmm.
And we, were at different kiosks. We bought our tickets. We, talked about the seat. The ticket that comes out, we were seeing Asteroid City, F7 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
I got this ticket for Flash 2 seats, different row and everything. And I'm like, what happened? And I just don't know what happened. He's like, so then I had to go up I had to be like, hi, I have the wrong ticket. And then I had to go to the kiosk and they're like, what did you do? And just stupid shit time.
Like Seinfeldian.
Yes. Constantly. I once, this was awesome.
Awesome. Okay.
Every other Monday in France, I would take a bus to go to work because the person who normally drove me, he didn't work on those days. Okay, so I had to take a bus. I had went to Portugal the weekend before, and I lost my debit card. I had no money in Portugal. My friend had to pay for everything. I had to Venmo her back.
Okay.
So I had no cash.
Yeah.
So there's all this lead up. I had no cash. The bus is €2. €2. That's nothing.
Yeah.
I had none. The bus driver wouldn't let me on. I was like, does anyone have €2? I was like that girl. I was like, I'm so sorry. Can I pay by card? I don't have, can I pay by my credit card? He's like, no, it's cash only, €2. He kicked me off the bus. And I had to tell them, my coworkers, I was going to work. I was like, I won't be at work because I couldn't get on the bus, because I didn't have cash, because I lost my debit card in Portugal. All this crap. And I was emotional in this alleyway, flipping out, I felt so stupid, what am I doing? And they were just like, bummer, see you tomorrow. They were so whatever.
They're like, it's fine, it's no problem.
They're like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, that would not happen in the US. They're like, you better jump on the back of that bus. You better.
So just little things constantly.
With that exciting note, we are going to shift to the silhouette. Welcome back. We are here with the charismatic Crystal. We're getting into the silhouette. These are a series of questions that I ask every person to get an idea of what type of person they are. The month or season that you could live an eternity in.
Okay, May, because that's my birthday. So it would be springtime, because I really like spring. It's so playful, and things are being born and coming to life, and I don't know, it's nice.
All right.
It's warm.
Your favorite color in the Crayola marker pack.
Okay, I looked this one up ahead of time because I could not remember what those colors were.
It's the most basic colors I could think of.
The pink.
Oh, you like the pink one.
It's just the most pastel-y of them. I like that.
If you had to describe yourself as a candy or snack, what would it be?
Okay, this one I have no idea.
Would it be rock candy?
Dang, interesting. No, too typical. Too typical. I would be, a favorite one.
It's not your favorite. It's one.
I like Mike and Ike's.
What?
I love Mike and Ike's.
I hate Mike and Ike's.
I love Mike and Ike's.
Why?
I'm a Mike and Ike.
But what? Why does that describe you?
Because overall, you love Mike and Ike's. But then there's sometimes you get one and it's like, oh, yikes. Because sometimes I'm really blunt. Like, sometimes I'm like not it. Sometimes
So
I
you're
say
saying
shit
like
out of pocket.
sweet, but then sometimes you have one, you're like, I did not care for that specific piece.
Yeah, that's me. 100%. Yep.
Perfect. What was the most recent lie you told?
That one, I don't know. I don't lie that much. Maybe.
Well, do you lie to yourself?
Probably. I lied to my parents about how late to go to bed.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. I told them.
I'm sure. I'm sure from what you said, I'm sure.
Yeah, easy.
Next question, because we are running out of time. I'm sorry.
So fast.
Yesterday or tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Why?
Because I have a lot of things I want to learn. I want to keep learning things. And so it's always nice to like, tomorrow I'll do this, tomorrow I'll watch this or enjoy this. And it's nice to think of like opportunities you still have.
You're killing it on this podcast because you already answered what are you most excited for in your future, getting an apartment and doing plants. Let's move on to the next question. What is something you want to learn about but haven't gotten to yet?
I want to learn about Southeast Asian history. Like, I don't know. There's like a
Vietnam and
like
Laos.
Cambodia, Laos, even like Korea, Japan, like that history. Like, I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
Oh.
About like those historical periods. I think it'd be cool.
You're like, they're new.
They're new, you know, and they're so old, and I really want to learn more about it.
If you could visit any time and place as an invisible tourist, when and where would it be?
Okay, this one, okay. Okay. If witches don't exist, I believe they have in the past. I totally somehow, I don't know how, maybe that's ridiculous, but I just like to think that somehow there was some like witchy things that like were real. You know, it's not all nonsense.
Like magic.
Like magic-y, a little. And so I really want to see like a druid like religious thing.
Oh, like a ceremony.
Like it's druid ceremony or something. Or like a Wiccan ceremony from like 3,000 years ago or something.
Oh, like really far
back. Like really far back.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to my mom and she was like, she wants to see like Stonehenge used to be used for like some purpose, they think. Yeah. And she'd want to be there to witness that.
It's not her answer, it's your answer.
Yeah. So my answer is that one.
And it's ceremony of some kind.
Ceremony of some kind.
What is the most important advice that you've ignored?
Don't stress about getting a job. God, like, now I'm stressing about the fact that I'm stressing, you know? Like, I'm stressing how I'm stressing and not about not stressing. It's just nonsense. So that's advice I really have ignored. And I wish I didn't. I wish it was like, it's chill.
It's so hard to ignore that. It's impossible.
It's impossible.
What is something you believed to be true but found out wasn't?
This is like, I don't know, like an easy answer, I guess. Like, but I feel like when we were a kid, or even up until like 5-10 years
Santa.
ago. No, that was ruined for me really early.
Yeah. But yes,
the fact that we used to only use 10% of our brain, we actually don't. Like, we use all of our brain. I used to like, and when Lucy came out, it's like, this way to like open up your whole brain. It's like, wow. Like, wow.
It's a lie.
It's a lie.
They lied to us. They lied to us.
And I believed it. I believed it.
Well, thank you for answering the questions in the silhouette. I have one more question for you. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, this was really fun. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Crystal, for joining me on An Incomplete Reflection. We will be back with another guest at another time. We'll see you then.